should be a gaffer.
Okay, so we just spent the last few minutes like figuring, because we're not used to using this car, so we were
The
figuring.
dash is very slopey.
It's really slanty. We had my light on the phone on the corner over there. Brian's
Mine
light
wedged
over
up
there.
here somewhere.
It was shadowing like a beard over my face, like I just forgot to wipe chocolate off of my mouth. And then like, oh, where's the shadow coming from? Is it that? Like, oh, maybe if we put it under the steering wheel, like
We're fucking moving lights around. Like, Jesus Christ, do not trust us to do this.
no.
This is why we get people.
This is why it makes sense. I'm directing a shot on VHS movie. So like,
Single point of light, right here, right above the mic.
yeah, I'm like, okay, well, wait, what if you use, because your phone has a better light than mine, what if you just put your phone where mine is? So, perfect, it's right behind there, where we usually put it.
Right in front of us, it lights us perfectly. That is insane the way that works.
Mystery solved. You might hear a little bit of rain. That's alright, it goes along with the movie we're talking about. Like, I know, like,
we should just be aimlessly driving, too.
with some sweet Bernard Herrmann playing. Fuck yeah. What's funny is we're recording this while, like, the third debate's going on TV. We decided to do something more uplifting, which was go see Taxi Driver. It's the 40th anniversary of Taxi Driver.
And yet, it's still, like, in an odd way, it runs a nice parallel to what's going on tonight, but with the weird, like, you know, the subplot of the movie being, oh yeah, there's like a political, like, election campaign going on.
It's an election year. Man, this is the kind of movie I love seeing in the theater. We were talking about this as soon as we left, like, man, we don't get to see movies like this in the theater much anymore.
Just dirty and just, like,
slimy and grungy. Like, this is the kind of movie that's so great seeing in a dark room on a big screen, because you could be in the nicest theater in the world watching this, and it'll feel like any second there's gonna be a rat that crawls across your foot. Yeah. Like, it'll feel like you're in one of the theaters that's in the movie.
Fuck, we practically were. There were like 5 other guys in there. And it was one of those small theaters, so it was really cramped up. It's like, well,
I love that this was in the tiny theater. That made it even better.
The only thing that would have set the atmosphere more is if we were watching it at the incredibly, like, ultra small theater that's over there
at Parkway.
Over on Showplace.
Oh
8.
yeah, the Alex Cross Theater.
The Alex Cross Theater. Where you can hear it run.
Right? God, that theater is like as big as the one where the first porno theater that Travis Bickle went into that looked like it was somebody's garage. I've been in a theater like that before. I was in one like that when I saw Goodnight Mommy, when I saw that in Detroit. Like, this is really stereotypically like a Detroit fucking theater. I'm seeing this like German, I think, horror film in.
Makes sense.
They're not the most comfortable theaters to see full length. It makes sense a porno theater would be structured like that. You sit in there for 10 minutes, you do your business, you leave. You don't need to be comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely not the reason you're going.
Yeah. Oh, well, unless you are Travis Bickle and you're really like, either you're taking your date there or it just seems like he genuinely enjoys these movies.
I mean, he bought a lot of concessions. I mean, he was there for the haul.
Yeah, for what was it, like $1.50?
Well, yeah.
He gets like Chuckles, a Clark bar, a big thing of popcorn, and an RC. I like that on the date, he took Sybil Shepherd to go see like one of the White Coater movies, like one of the porno movies that's like, oh, we're slipping this by with it being a porno because we're making it educational.
You're like, here's the spermatozoa, and here's the phallus, and like, oh, here's just a fuck pile of people.
I have done movies like that on The Snob before. They're ridiculous. Like,
I thought you were just gonna stop after the first part. Like, I have done movies
I've
like
made
this.
movies like this before.
Like, I've seen your creepy basements.
It was
I
in
know.
my educational movie phase. I decided to give back to the audience. Here's what turns me on.
The world at large. You're welcome.
No, I did. There was this thing called. It was called like there was a couple. There was one that was called Black is Beautiful. There was one that was called Black Love. And they both, one of them was directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis, and they were both like they had like a doctor come out and be like, "Here's what black people do when they have sex," and just shows them fucking.
It's like, this is so informative. Thank you.
I would have been grumpy if I was Sybil Shepherd too, because they came in like halfway into the movie.
Yeah, they just like we're just there. It's like, I don't know if that's the right time to just walk into a film.
You missed the setup. Yeah, she was missed. That's why she was mad. She missed the context of everything that was going on. You don't want to come into Eyes Wide Shut in the middle of the orgy scene.
To be fair, yeah. She's like, yeah, well, fucking, I'll spend like the next hour here, and then I'll have to come back on fucking Thursday and see the rest of it. Jesus Christ.
I've, like, New York sleaze movies are like, I just love them. I love Taxi Driver. I love Cruising. I love all of that stuff.
And it's so insane because, I mean, I know that they always say with classic films, like, oh, you can't make a picture like this these days. But you legitimately could not make this movie anymore. Like, even if you, I mean, even if you tried like setting it modern times and like updating the themes, or, you know, doing it as like a Black Mass type thing where like, oh yeah, no, it's taking place back then. You just don't fucking worry about it. It's like everybody put on like a really big starched collar and you're good. But you cannot fucking make a movie like that anymore. I mean, it's
The film stock alone.
Well, yeah.
Just looking at how the movie looks, how it feels, how it's structured, and where in New York a lot of this is taking place. And it is true that, like, it's not like stuff like that vanished in New York. Like, the places they go to in this movie you can still kind of find in New York. It's just like, then it was just kind of conveniently on one street.
But yeah, but like I don't know, just like just how different in the course of like a generation.
Yeah.
That complete makeover there that they gave the city, like, you know, busted out all those parlors and everything from like Times Square and down like
42nd Street.
You just fucking it, just everybody leave. Like, it's so crazy that like yeah, like you said, you can still like, I mean, you can still find, you know, like, you know, these places, these theaters, these,
you can,
you know, fucking, you know, like, you know, find some pimp, you know, find some shit like that. Like, you can still find this stuff, but I think it's just the almost the cultural attitude at that point too, because it was legitimately no thing. Like, the fact that, I mean, deeply damaged as he is, the fact that he, in his mind, was like, oh, well, I'll just take her, you know, I'll take her down the strip here, and then we'll just go, like, see some fucking porno.
Yeah.
Like, that was just a thing he thought to do. But the fact that it wasn't even until they were watching it that she's like, yeah.
She wanted to give it a shot.
Like, she was at least okay with the idea. Meanwhile, there are just, like, piles of homeless people and whores clogging the street up into the theater. And at no point did this classy sort of society-looking gal ever think, like, this doesn't seem like my side of town. Like, oh, God. Like, no, she was like, yeah, it's New York, whatever.
It's New York, 1976.
Just walk forward, don't look. Like, it's just fucking plow on through. And, like, it's like, just that like I say, like that cultural attitude about the whole thing. Like, well, I mean, it's kind of just slightly away from the film, but like there at the beginning, like that little like excerpt that they had from like that where they were showing it there at like
Tribeca, yeah.
this year. Just Harvey Keitel even mentioning that, like, it's like, oh yeah, I wanted to get some some frame of reference on how to be a pimp. So I walked outside the Broadway theater I was at and was like, oh, well, here's some whores, and I'll just talk to these whores.
Which is probably, like, less dangerous than Robert De Niro working as a cab driver for however long he did to get in character.
but for him to just walk outside and be like, so, like, do you guys, like, how can I get a hold of your pimp? Like, I want to talk to your pimp. Like, I want to find out how you do what you do.
You ain't from around here.
And it is like, nah, no thanks. It's like, none of this could happen in today's society. like, I don't care, like, what, like, current actor in Hollywood is out there. Would just be like, it's like, oh man, I just got off shift at, like, this Broadway show that I'm starring in. It's like, I got this upcoming role. I don't know, I'll just walk up to some pro on the street and be like, hey, what's up? I just don't see that happening. Like, there'd be, like, every kind of fucking agent in the world involved. They'd be going through people like, oh, well, we have a professional, like, consultant on hand through the studio. We'll bring her in. Like, like she helped shoot, like season 3 of Pimps Up, Hose Down. Like,
well, maybe Daniel Day-Lewis would.
Daniel Day-Lewis would just go out there and be like, bitches, you work for me. And he'd just be slinging ass on the fucking corner. Like, he goes all in. Like, he would just have to be a pimp.
I've talked to my friends who live in New York before, and sometimes really no matter who you're talking to, like, that era of, like, 42nd Street will get brought up. And they'll be like, they'll laugh at it and kind of be like, they'll be like, I totally understand the nostalgia for that, and that, like, it's like, there's a certain kind of, like, glamorization because it made for some really good movies. It made for some really great sleaze flicks. But then my friends will say, but at the end of the day, goddamn, it was a shithole.
Oh yeah, no, it was terrible.
Yeah, like, at the end of the day, like, if you just went shopping, you'd probably just suddenly come out of the store addicted to heroin. And at least a lot of it was just kind of in one area, at the time. I mean, I'm sure it's spread out here and there. Have I ever told you about, the way that it is nowadays, you can just accidentally walk into somewhere. Did I ever tell you about when I accidentally walked into, I want to stress the word accidentally. When I accidentally walked into... When
you on purpose walked into...
No. If it was on purpose, I would have stayed. It was a gay S&M club in New York. It was like a couple of... All right, stay with me here. This actually happened. This was when a year or so ago when I was at New York Comic-Con. So me, Lindsay, a couple others are out drinking, and I think there might have been a panel or something with maybe someone else going on, but I was on the phone. I was still smoking a cigarette. I felt like I needed to sober up. That was it. I needed to sober up because I had a panel the next day, or at least a signing or something. So I was going to go walk around the block a couple of times, just have a cigarette. I was talking on the phone, and I was still a little tipsy. Like, I wasn't drunk, but I was tipsy. So there's like this open door. I was like, it kind of started to come down a little bit. So I'm like, all right, I just want to step in somewhere really quick. Oops. So there's this door. If I was stone cold sober, I would have, like, kind of known right away, maybe I shouldn't go in here. There was, like, this door open. It was a long hall. There was a sign on the front door, a paper sign that just said bar with an arrow pointed in. So my dumbass is like, oh, there's a bar in there.
There's a bar. Cool.
So I walk down this, like, white hallway that looks like any of the goddamn hallways from this fucking movie, except a little whiter. They've painted it since 1976. So I get to, like, this glass window. There's this dude, this scraggly looking dude on the other side of it. It looked like I'm checking into, like, the Ritz from the movie The Ritz. And
perfect, your favorite.
I love that movie. This is gonna be hilarious. So I was like, is this place open? And the guy's like, yeah, it'll be $5 to get in here. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. And then he holds up a clothes rack and said, "Put your clothes on here, keep your shoes on." I want to do none of that. And then he's like, "By the way, there's only dudes in here tonight." And I'm like, huh? I sobered up fast. Like, I saw over his shoulder, there's like fucking naked Hume Cronin walking behind him. I'm like, dude, I walked into the wrong place. I'm sorry, man. So I left, and there were no hard feelings.
Whatever, Twinkle Toes. We're still open all night.
I'll remember that, sir. So I walk out, and once I step in, I was laughing, and then I was like, what is the name of that place? And I looked up, and had I seen this sign, like, okay, I might have, as tipsy as I was, I might have been like, I might not want to go in here. There was a big sign for the bar, and it was just in big letters, paddles. Maybe it's a ping pong bar.
Yeah, that's probably it. They're probably really into table tennis in there.
That could be it. I mean, New York has everything.
And also, to be fair, that could have legitimately been... But probably...
That is the closest I've ever came to being an extra in Cruising. I left and I was just like, I now have a story I can tell for the rest of my life. Maybe I should have gone in. Maybe like it was really inexpensive. I mean, it was only $5 to get in. What's closed when I can get a $1 draft? So you got any good stories like that?
You know, I haven't accidentally ever stumbled upon any weird S&M dungeons.
I recommend it. I totally recommend it.
Next time I just see just an open door with a paper sign on it behind like a fucking dry cleaners, I'll be like, you know what? Fuck it, let's go.
It seemed like I could see some like black lighting back there too, and I don't know if that was the best idea.
Yeah, a place like that. Or maybe
to clean it every hour.
Maybe it's to keep people honest.
Yeah. So you can accidentally stumble upon places like that.
You can accidentally stumble across places like that. If you don't look up,
if you don't see the sign,
see the giant neons where it's just a paddle spanking an ass.
Oh,
like if you don't notice that, I mean, could happen.
Maybe
could happen.
Maybe that part of the sign was burnt out. I'll have to write a Yelp review of this place.
The ass was burned out, so it's like, oh, it just looks like a fan. Like, ooh, it must be hot in there.
Oh, God. So Taxi Driver. That just watching this movie just reminded me. Just reminded me of that. Just reminded me of that story.
Yeah, you probably saw it when they're going down there. Like, oh, they updated their sign.
Oh yeah, and Peter Boyle was the guy behind the thing. One of the things I love about this is like
give me your clothes.
Oh God, like. I love the, like, minor conversations of the side characters in this movie. I think a lot of the side characters are, like, my favorite characters in the film. Like, just the random conversation that, like, Peter Boyle and the other guys are having about, like, midgets, and, like, they always want to sit in the front seat. They're hilarious. And, like, did you know fags have to pay alimony in California? Oh yeah. That
really makes sense. You know, if I was so inclined, I'd head out that way. Yeah, they seem like they were like the other drivers that you never see around the table in the show Taxi. Yeah. Like if Taxi is the day crew, like these are the guys that are like, it's like whenever Christopher Lloyd's like, I'm out of here. Yeah. And leaves, it's like, fucking Peter Boyle is like, yeah, all right. Number 15, okay, cool.
Danny DeVito, it's like Joe Spinell takes over for Danny DeVito. That makes sense. Like, it really does.
If anyone else is going to do that job. Yeah.
I'm sure you could provide, like, a solid argument that, like, Joe Spinell in this is Frank Zito from Maniac. They really seem like they take place in the same continuity.
Well, they take place in exactly the same time and place, so This makes sense.
Yeah, God, another I miss Joe Spinell so much. I do, from Maniac, this, to, like, The Pickup Artist. Man, one of the things that this even has in common with a movie like Maniac, which is another movie I love, is both Travis Bickle and Frank Zito are, like, very troubled, but there's moments where they're, like, smooth. Like, in this movie, like, okay, it's about this guy, and he's unstable, he's this ticking time bomb through the whole movie, but he's trying. He's trying to fit in a couple times.
It's those moments where, and it usually seems like it's from other people kind of being in his proximity that seems to kind of like as long as he's near someone, he can ground himself enough to where he's able to, like, keep a hold of, like, whoever the fuck he was before whatever the fuck broke him.
Yeah. Like, he's trying, except, like, he doesn't know people skills very well. He doesn't know music. He doesn't know politics. He doesn't know much about movies. But he can kind of be smooth a little bit, like when he's talking to Sybil Shepherd at first, in that kind of way that, like, he's just sort of maybe naturally a little charismatic in certain instances, because he's Robert De Niro, you know? So, like, he's like, he can kind of be a little charismatic, but there's still something. At the end of the day, he's not an expert at, like, communication or people skills, so there's still something there that's not quite right.
Yeah, because I mean, it, like Sybil kind of points out, even is like, even though she's going, like, he talked her into going with her, like, on, like, first just, like, like coffee and then, like, an actual day. Like, he keeps being able to talk her into these things, despite the fact that she blatantly calls it to his face. It's like basically all but saying, like, there's something very fucking off with you.
Yeah.
But I'm alarmingly okay with this.
Because he's not a bad-looking guy, and he's got a good smile, and he can be funny.
But yeah, it's like there was nothing but red flags, like, the entire time that they were having fucking, like, pie and coffee.
He keeps bringing up Albert Brooks.
He just keeps going on that, like,
I don't like that guy.
I don't, he doesn't respect you. I can tell that. I look through the thing, I drive by, I look through the thing. Clearly, two, nothing. Me, I walk in, I mean, there's something. There had to be.
Here's the guy, he's openly admitting to, like, driving by and watching her.
Like, I'm all but predatory stalking you. But
he's got a good smile, so he's kind of sort of making this work a little bit.
Like, I'm saying things that should unnerve you, but I'm also saying things that you know are true, so you can't be that upset by it.
And Albert Brooks, who is another one of my favorite characters in this. Just this minor character that sort of exists in a comedy. Like,
he is in an entirely different movie.
Yeah, his character is like, this guy is probably like Seth Rogen's dad in, like, a Judd Apatow movie. Or, like, yeah, he's kind of walking around like...
I'm honestly kind of surprised that they've never done that. Because
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, it was Harold Ramis that knocked up. But yeah, if he hadn't picked up the phone, a call was gonna be.
Yeah, it's sort of like how, like, him in this is like Shelley in Friday the 13th Part 3, where it's like the fun-loving guy from, like, the 80s comedy is unfortunately in a slasher film.
The unfortunate Jufro.
He was rocking that hair, man.
He was doing his part.
It was inspiring.
Mazel tov.
You know what? I think I actually forgot how really kind of funny this movie is, because it is a disturbing film. It is. Like, this movie is like a punch to the gut. Like, it's chilling from frame one.
Well, because yeah, like, I mean, well, yeah, even as it's starting, you don't really know where it's going. It's just moody music and driving. But just the music, even just like the way that it goes from like this kind of like old slow kind of like swing jazz,
like this film noir kind of
alarming tones, and then just eases back into like just being nice and chill. It's like you can't, like, no one's doing a slow dance to this music. It's like
well, except for Harvey Keitel and Jodie Foster. But
which is alarming.
Which yeah. So there is, but you know, this is Taxi Driver, so he's like 40 and she's 12.
It's okay.
It's fine. That was legal in 76, right?
But yeah, it's like it's the way this film comes across today. It still has as big of an impact.
Oh God, yeah.
But well, I let me rephrase that. The way that it comes across today, it still has a big impact. Whereas back when this first came out, there wasn't something like this. I mean, nothing mainstream that was really hitting these notes of just everything. Like this basically, like this movie, like it felt like the script was everything up to that point in filmmaking. This is everything that you didn't want to have in your movie.
The 70s were great at that. Between this, Death Wish, Dirty Harry.
But yeah, like you have these movies that are basically forcing you to come face to face with this stuff. Like this, this is a damaged man who came back from Vietnam, and he is fucking wrong. Like there's something that has not been put back to place with this guy. There's, you know, it's pushing all kinds of like these these themes, like, you know, like just the patterns that he has, like, you know, like the mental health and the insomnia and everything like that. Not just prostitution, but underage prostitution, suddenly ramping up to absurdly graphic violence. Like
that is still unnerving seeing that, and it's shot in a way that, because I believe how it went was it was going to get an X rating, but instead of cutting anything out, they just turned the brightness down on the film or something like that, which is why it's extra gritty looking in that scene, which makes it even more disturbing because it suddenly not that the rest of the movie wasn't real, but it gets fucking real in that shootout.
But yeah, like it doesn't have that sort of like, because I feel like that's the sort of scene, like,
you feel like it's something you shouldn't be watching.
Well, exactly. Because it's Hollywood has this annoying thing. Some movies pass it off better than others. The worst example of I can think of was actually Stoner. But when it's supposed to be dark, and it's clearly not.
Oh, Day for Night?
Well, not even just Day for Night, but just like, like when people are like, oh man, shit, I can't see anything here. Have me a lighter.
Yeah, okay.
Having a lighter, it's like, it's broad fucking daylight.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And then it's like, you know, they'll maybe have like a shot where like they're like, ow, the lighter, it burned me. And like, okay, now really dim the lights. It's like, okay, well, it was broad fucking daylight a second ago. Like, your guys are like scrambling for flashlights. Like that scene in Stoner where they're fighting in the dark. It's like,
yeah,
like all the lights are on. Like I thought they went blind for a minute.
Yeah.
But you never really see like Hollywood has this. I mean, because of how you have to film. Like,
yeah.
Of course, you can't film it in the dark. Like, that was actually a problem I had last night when I was watching Slaughter High.
Nice!
When they, like, one of the guys escapes and, like, goes outside to, like, get in, like, one of their cars. It's pitch black outside. And they didn't turn on the fucking lights. So it's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. And then eventually it's like, the car door opens, like, oh god, I can see now. It's like, I've just been listening, it's like there was rustling. Did he fall in a bush? Like, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, but that's how this scene, like, getting into like the big climax there, is it just suddenly gets like not all, like, not dark how Hollywood leads us to believe dark is, like like that whole thing felt like there was like one dim light bulb up there,
Yeah.
and that's all you fucking get.
Yeah.
Like when he's fucking wrestling with dude out there, like like up the stairs and then through into the actual apartment there, like there's like basically like old like handhelds that had like just like the one like actual small like light bulb, like that's all the light you have for this scene, and it's just
it suddenly feels like they just filmed a legit murder sequence.
yeah, it's like we killed these guys.
Yeah, it's like like the gang rape scene at the beginning of Death Wish. Like it's like, am I watching a snuff film right now?
It's like turning down the lights to get a better rating. That was the solution that worked back then. It's like this makes that so much more alarming. Like yeah, with Death Wish, like a group rape scene is never going to be a fun thing to watch.
No.
And you can quote me on that. But
well, you haven't seen the squirrels in Shot on Shitty yet.
to be fair, I wasn't there at that point. But yeah, it's like that's never something you want to see like thrust in front of you. But making it darker somehow doesn't seem like the solution to that problem. It's like, oh well, here, let's just turn that down a little bit. There, how's that? Studio's like, yeah, we can.
That's good. R rating. Excellent. What I love too is that you expect a movie like this to end like tragically, but the way that it does end is like simultaneously like a happy ending, but still kind of disturbing because it leaves on this really also kind of disturbing note where like, okay, he's a hero taxi driver, he's back with his friends, the other cabbies, he has that moment there with Sybil Shepherd at the end, the girl is saved, she goes back home with her parents, but then there's that final like 2 seconds which seems to indicate like this shit's gonna happen again, and like will probably be like actually something really tragic actually might happen.
Well, and this is one that, and I'm sure like I've never really looked around for it, but this is one where I'm sure like there are probably people that have written entire theses based on the fact like no, like the last like 5 minutes of the movie is like his like final moments. He died in the room.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's some thesis on that or something. What I take
like the peaceful resolution of everything, and then everybody's fine, and then he's healthy again, and has that.
I just got a little stiffness, I forgot all about that.
It's like it definitely seems like the argument could be made, but it's also one of those things is like especially like I don't know, it's an interesting way to end it, especially in light of like other movies where like and this is the dumbest comparison, but watching Slaughter High last night, a movie where the killer gets away with everything and kills everybody and then wakes up.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ. So we did all that for fucking this.
And it wasn't even April Fool's Day. I remember Slaughter High. I got a copy. I got Carolyn Monroe autographed that copy of it that I have. Oh, you were there. That was like one of the first cuts. She's like, oh, this was a delightful bit of camp, and signs it. I think her husband made it, like, or wrote it or produced it or something. I remember that movie.
I did not like it.
I remember 12-year-old Brad liked it. I don't know how 34-year-old Brad would like it.
Give it a second shot.
I will. I always figured I'd probably get to that on the snob at some point.
It was one of those, like, like I queued it up last night. I'm like as soon as the music started, I'm like...
Yeah. The one thing that about the ending or one thing that doesn't make me think it was necessarily like a dream or anything like that was that final like really fast motion off kilter shot where he moves the mirror, because that to me always felt like that kind of symbolizes any minute now he's gonna snap again. Like something horrible is just gonna happen again with this guy.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, like if we're going with the way that it presents itself, that yeah, it's, you know, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, he is lauded as a hero. I mean, he did just sort of like vigilante justice a bunch of very despicable people.
Uh-huh.
That it makes sense that he would be praised like that, but now, like, he has completely cut ties with every decent person in his life that he had left. Like, like, he set up like these couple of like stable like quasi relationships, whether it was, you know, like spying on and then trying to date, you know, Sybil Shepherd's character, or just like the interactions and like just talking casually like a normal person with Jodie Foster. All of these people are now removed from his life. Like the air of like finality that it had, like him like dropping her off and being like, it's like, you know, her asking about the fare, like, yeah, don't worry about it, and just tips the meter and takes off. It's like that definitely signaled like a he's done with that chapter of his life sort of thing. But it's like there's nothing to ground him anymore.
He's got Peter Boyle and the dude talking about Mitch. He can sell that piece of Errol Flynn's bathtub. He can get rich. He's got plenty of stuff to look forward to. It's 40 years later. What do you think a 66-year-old Travis Bickle would be doing now? Two things. One,
filing for his 15th soon to be denied parole.
That's, yeah, I was about to say, like, two things. One, he's still a cab driver. Or two, he's John Hinckley.
I was gonna say, like, it's like, as close as he came to, I mean, to actually doing that.
Yeah.
Wonder what his next plan's gonna be like. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's like 17 more days and then he'll be the president. It's like, okay. It's like, you don't say.
Remember when they talked about doing a sequel to this? It was like 10 years ago, I think, or something like that.
I think it's one of those things like I heard talking about, but then I never heard anything past that.
I mean, it was De Niro, like, and it was Scorsese, but I guess that, well, obviously that didn't get made, but I mean, like...
yeah, I can't even think of... I mean, even 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, like, I can't think of what that could have possibly have been.
Yeah, it's more interesting to speculate what Travis Bickle would be doing years after the events of this film than to actually see it. That might be more depressing than parts of this movie.
Because that's one of those things is... They could have come out with a really good idea, like something like some of the newer revisits we have of classics, you know, like the way that, you know, like Creed continuing on the tradition of the Rocky films, you know, stuff like that. Or we could have ended up with another one of those, you know, sequel prequel things they did to Easy Rider.
Oh God. Yeah.
I mean, there's no easy way to say what could have possibly, because yeah, it's like I find the most depressing outcome of all of this being that the idea, especially like if they'd made this, you know, 10 years ago, that you'd have Travis Bickle who his mental health escalated to such a point that he was going to assassinate a presidential candidate, but then instead decided, well, I'm just gonna go gun down all these people at this fucking whorehouse. And then gets better from being almost shot to death.
Having been in a coma, too.
and then is a lifelong hack, just driving cab for 30 more years, uneventfully.
It's like, honestly, just watch this back-to-back with, like, Bringing Out the Dead. Like, that is a great double feature. And I love that movie. That's a very underrated movie. And you really don't need any kind of follow-up or sequel to this when you could honestly just watch Bringing Out the Dead after this.
I mean, if the only way I could see, and it would get such tremendous blowback on it that I can't see a way that it would possibly appease anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could always be wrong, because like again, like there are like odd things, like Rocky Balboa wasn't terrible.
No,
Creed was remarkably good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are ways that you can honor what you had and do it right, but I think
it's going to be held under a microscope.
But yeah,
a lot,
especially since, like with Rocky, it was a series.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Like
it wasn't just Rocky 1 and then 20 years later we got Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, like there is a progression, and they did get much worse. I'm sorry, Rocky 5.
Yeah.
We were okay to try again.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It was fertile ground.
Uh-huh. Touch me and I'll sue you.
They salted the earth and we brought it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like this, like it was one movie and then nothing for 30, 40 years, and then we're gonna try again. So no, that is never gonna work.
No.
With this being such a classic film, you know, whether it's your taste or not, I mean, from an artistic standpoint, from a cinema standpoint, you have to at least be able to look at it and appreciate it for what it is. That I think the best shot they would ever have of doing a second Taxi Driver film would be just like a thematic, you know, like successor, you know, like again, like something like
Bringing Out the Dead.
Yeah, like if I mean, like you could practically like title that like you know, Taxi Driver, Bringing Out the Dead,
Ambulance Driver.
Yeah. It's I mean, you could make that argument, and I think that would be the only way that you could do it. But as soon as you put that name on it, it is gonna get torn apart.
I totally
impossible.
agree. Even with like Scorsese behind it, obviously De Niro, it's something that will get it would get too heavily scrutinized, like you said, to like just if it's not an instant masterpiece, it's going to be written off as bad. And if it's honestly, it would be a follow-up to Taxi Driver. So honestly, if it's not going to be an instant masterpiece, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like why even take that gamble? Even if it would just turn out to be like, yeah, okay, whatever, fine. That's not worth doing it.
But yeah, I mean, and sometimes even just the name of something on a movie can in a way, like it, I mean, yeah, in certain cases it can give it some credibility that it shouldn't have, but in certain cases too, like it can take a movie that's harmless and just destroy it. Like, not that I'm saying that there was much to praise about like the remake of Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
But if they had changed the character names and called that movie anything fucking else,
yeah,
it would have done fine.
It still would have been terrible.
Oh yeah, it still would have been a great movie, but it just would have been another harmless action movie that came and went, and nobody would have fucking cared.
We would have still been the only ones who saw that fucking movie.
but it's the sort of thing like movies like Fast and the Furious have shown. Like, you can take the exact same script practically.
Yeah.
Just cross out like one word, write in another one, just do like a fucking like auto replace on word, and boom, there you go. Surfboards, scratch, car, done. Skydive, scratch, car race.
President's mask, scratch, bitchin' shades, and frosted tipped hair. All right.
Yeah, it's like it's you can make the same thing and people will still accept it. But if they would have named Fast and the Furious Point Break, it would not have done well.
Probably not. I mean, it would have been still better than the actual remake. But
Well, yeah, but it's that sort of thing. Like sometimes, it's like it almost makes more sense that if they had a script, even if it was a good script, and they're like, here's the pitch for the sequel. It's Travis Bickle. He's now he's like he's running the. He's too old to be out there driving. He doesn't like it anymore. So he stays up late nights. He's dispatch. He's in the box and he's just going fucking crazy and crazy and crazy because he's just trapped in this little fucking box. It's like, okay, scratch out his name, auto replace it with anything else, and do not call it Taxi Driver, and then you feel free to proceed. Like. It's one of those movies, like, it's
directed by Olivier Megaton. Why? Fucking why?
Mick G was busy.
Oh, well, that'll make sense. No, this is, and what's great too in this that would be really hard to do in anything else that would come after that, unless like we were saying, it was some kind of spiritual sequel, is that this really is a world building film, because even the most minor character in it isn't just somebody who just walks on, says a few lines, and then they're gone, they've served their purpose to the character or whatever. It's not like that. Like, look at the gun salesman in this movie. That's only in it for one scene, but in this one scene, like, you really kind of, this is a character. This is a guy. Like, you know a lot about this dude in like 3 minutes. Yeah, it starts out that, he knows his shit about guns. He's selling Travis Bickle some guns. And to go back to what I said earlier, like, the movie does have funny moments in it, and this is one of them. Because once, like, the business with the guns over, suddenly we're led into this guy's world for like 30 seconds, where he's selling crystal meth, a Cadillac.
It's like, fucking anything you want, this guy can get for a steal.
Yeah.
It's like, you want fucking PCP? You upper?
Want some
downer? Like, what's your poison? It's like, no, I don't do that shit. Crystal meth.
You want crystal meth? I can get you a Cadillac.
Just jumps immediately from crystal meth to, how about a Cadillac? I can get you the fucking pink slip. 2,000. Easy.
Which I guess it makes sense he would try to upsell Travis Bickle, because Bickle did spend a fuck ton buying like 4 guns from this guy.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? They use that to shoot elephants. So he probably figures like, well, this guy's got a lot of money. I'll try to sell him a car.
Like, yeah, I mean, I guess while you're already there, like, it's like, I might as well see what else I can get. It's like, if this guy is gonna buy, I will sell. Like, you like this suit I'm wearing? That's 3-piece. It's $20 right now.
I'll just walk right outside right now in my fucking boxes. You take my suit, you wear my suit, it looks good on you. $20.
You're like a 42 long? 42 long? Yeah, hey, right here. I get my guy down here to tailor that, an extra $5. What do you say?
I love the scene with Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro, like their first scene together, because it's like this awkward joking back and forth where, like,
neither one of them knows what to make of.
Yeah, De Niro has this look on his face when, like, Keitel doesn't really know what to do. He's like, do I keep joking with this guy or what? And De Niro has this look which is like, do I just kill him now? Like, really, do I want to wait until later? Like, do I want to wait till I shave the head and do a mohawk? I could just shoot this guy now.
It's like, there's just that lingering moment, especially like right when he's getting ready to leave. It's like, come on.
Go have a good... Cowboy, you go have a good time.
This is just... It's like, it was so awkward and uncomfortable, because it's like, one or the other of them is gonna kill the other one right here if this goes on for another minute longer.
Yeah.
Either Harvey Keitel is gonna stab him or Bickle is gonna shoot him. And it's gonna be, whatever happens, it'll be in broad daylight, and the other one will just be like, it had to be done.
This was the natural progression of this conversation. It's either gonna happen now, or it's gonna happen a couple of nights later, come back with the mohawk. He's gonna kick you, throw a cigarette at you, just shoot him in the stomach.
Yeah, that is an amazing scene, though.
It is.
I think what really makes everything about Harvey Keitel for me is that luxurious mane.
Oh, yeah.
Just flowing locks of hair.
He looks like he should be like the Indian sidekick in an 80s action movie.
Harvey, go get a tan this weekend.
Yeah. That fucking luxurious hair, that hat he was wearing. Pulling it off, man. Why not? He looked like, I don't know, he probably looked like at the least he might have smelled better than some of the other pimps in this movie.
Well, that's true. I mean, he was trying his hardest there in you know, July heat to just keep patting himself dry, keep himself fresh for the ladies.
While keeping that, like, pinky tip on so he could just have a little pick-me-up.
Yeah, that's why he was clearing off all the sweat. He said, you get inside so I can,
yeah,
time for,
it's bump 30. I can tell because of the position of the sun in the sky.
Yep, there it is, high noon. It's like, man, it's like 5:30. Like, it's like high noon somewhere.
How many people do you think are watching this to this point and haven't seen this movie? Like, I'm waiting for you guys to say whether or not you recommend it.
It's like, I have been eagerly awaiting this my whole life. Oh God, just what do they say?
I wonder that. It's like, with the retro midnight screenings we do and stuff like that, like, surely someone who hasn't seen the movie isn't watching all the way into this point in the video. I
should hope not.
Why haven't you seen this movie up until the... And don't tell me you're like 12 years old. I saw this movie for the first time when I was like 12.
Oh, 80s parents.
Fuck yeah, 80s parents. I could watch anything. Surprised there wasn't an animated series based on this.
Dear God, you're right. But yeah, I mean, I can understand somebody watching all the way through. Like, it's like, oh man, what are they gonna say about Ouija? I haven't gone to see Ouija yet. It's like, okay, I get that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But something that.
But yeah, like this is the 40th anniversary. Like,
you should have seen Taxi Driver.
Make time.
Yeah, makes time to see Taxi Driver. This is just one of the greatest cinematic experiences that you'll see, man. The first time I saw this, I was flipping channels, and I was probably 11, 12. It was at my dad's, flipping channels, and it was on. And I'd heard of the movie before. My parents are big movie people, so I'd heard of Taxi Driver before. And it was on, like, HBO one night, and I caught... Like, it was the Martin Scorsese scene where he's in the back of the cab. I'm
see up there? The window, the one with the light on. Look for the light on. You see it now? Oh, you see it. He found the window. He found the window.
Should see that, because that's my fucking wife. He is really good in that scene.
Oh, he fucking delivers on that. Like, I will give him that. Like, as far as, like, director cameos in
that's
films,
a good one.
Like, he does pretty solid.
Yeah, I've always felt that about him whenever he turns up in little roles, and whether it's this or, like, The Muse, where he was, like, playing himself. Like, he is a good character actor. Like he is,
yeah,
he is really good at that.
Well, and I like that he plays a strong character.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just like a. But yeah, it's not like beating you over the head with look, guys, freeze frame.
No,
it's the director.
When
for the camera, like, because that's what I feel like every time, like with. Even though half the time he was mugging for the camera, like with like Hitchcock, totally fine with his little cameos.
Mm-hmm.
By the same token, though, Stephen King, it is always like, look, folks, it's Stephen King. He's the pharmacist. See
Although,
that?
He was magnificent as Jordy Verrill.
That one was amazing,
Yeah.
but with that, I will say that is because he wasn't just like a cameo.
No, he was like, the lead of that part.
He was his own vignette.
Yeah.
And he could just chew as much scenery as he wanted because that was him. But when it's like any other film that he has, where it's like otherwise like a more somber tone generally. I mean, yeah, some of his movies get kind of wacky at times because of his sense of humor.
Like the pharmacist and I think Thinner,
yeah.
The band leader in the TV Shining. Was he the guy who ran like the cemetery and Sleepwalkers?
I think so.
I can see that part in my head, but it's been 20 years since I've
on one
seen
like
that.
he's like doing like a. Is one of them like he's on the like someone's watching TV and he's like the newscaster or something. I fucking forget.
I can't remember.
He's
But
in
you're
fucking films. But it always makes a point to the point of the scene is that hey, look who it is, everybody. Look right there.
Oh, the first time I saw this, I didn't know that was Martin Scorsese in the scene. I mean, yeah, I saw that scene, and then like 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I really need to see this from the beginning. So like a couple days later, I went to the video store and rented it. I was about 12 years old. This is the first time I saw it. And yeah, like I was, hell yeah.
Back when a video store was just like, you want to rent what? All right, here you go.
Oh, our video store also had Maniac and Don't Go in the House and fuck yeah. But yeah, I don't know when it was I realized that was Martin Scorsese, but it wasn't the first time I saw the movie. I was just like, oh, this guy sitting in the back seat, he's a really good actor.
Like, he's very intense back there.
Yeah, you should see what he'll do to a woman's pussy.
It's like
he could come out and say Billy Bush egged him on to say that.
But it's one of those things too. With like, I mean, sometimes like if you're just not expecting, like someone like a direct, like whether it's the director of that film or just a noteworthy director, like sometimes it's just you're just not expecting them to be in a scene. Like I think the first time I watched Nightbreed, I never really put together the fact that Dr. Decker is fucking Cronenberg. Like, I just never thought about that, because why would it be this, like, you know, like, esteemed director is the murderer?
Like when he popped up in Jason X. Or what about when we saw Jack Reacher, and, like, Werner Herzog's the heavy in this? Right on.
Yeah, that was what it was like watching the movie. It's like, okay. And, like, credits start to roll. I'm like, what? Like, thinking back, it's like, okay, but why?
Because he was amazing in that movie.
Oh, he did fantastic.
Both of us at the same time, like when his name popped up on the opening credits, or it was like, and Werner Herzog, we both looked at each other like, okay, right on. You had my attention.
Like, that's why I'm waiting to see, like, oh man, what if, like, the main villain of, like, Jack Reacher 2 is, like, I don't know, like, Roman Polanski? Like,
what, that
sure,
dude,
why not?
He was the fucking chief of police in, like, Rush Hour 3. Polanski was. He's not a bad actor either. He's great in The Tenant.
yeah, it's one of those things sometimes you just don't expect it.
You go to a Tarantino movie, you usually expect somewhere in there Tarantino's going to pop up. Sometimes it can work, and sometimes not really.
Yeah, a Tarantino or a Rodriguez film, there's a fair chance he'll pop up in one of those. But and again, Tarantino kind of does the same thing that Stephen King does when he does make a cameo, is that when he has a cameo, he is the sole fucking reason why it's happening. But he has such better screen presence, and I know that it's a debatable point for a lot of people, but he has the charisma enough to carry a scene.
He can. Sometimes it can really take you out of it.
Sometimes it is too much of a spectacle.
Yeah, sometimes it works. I thought he was great in Planet Terror. I thought he was legitimately kind of terrifying in that scene.
Oh yeah.
He was
Mr. Blue in Reservoir Dogs. That worked.
Brown, yeah.
That worked perfectly.
4 Rooms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect example. But then sometimes it is a very fun scene. I do enjoy it, but it is so glaring when it happens.
Django. Where he's Australian.
That was an odd choice. I still don't understand that one. And yeah, that one wasn't great. But no, his scene in Desperado.
I love that scene.
I fucking love that scene.
Pissing on you, the bartender.
The bartender lived. No, he got it the worst. And in walks the biggest Mexican.
Fucking Mexican. I love that scene with Tarantino.
No, it's a fucking great scene, but it is practically its own separate vignette.
Oh, it is. That is a very 90s thing to happen, in a movie like that, where suddenly someone's gonna come in and be really quirky for 5 minutes, probably get killed.
It's just ride this out, and then we can get back to fucking Banderas going around with just a shitload of guns in a case.
I'm sure we'll talk more about that when we get From Dusk Till Dawn next month.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God, I can't wait. I probably only got a little bit of battery left. Any final thoughts on it?
If you get a chance, whether it's I know here with AMC they got the Fathom events.
Yeah.
I don't know with a lot of the other chains like Cinemark and what is it, Regal.
They actually get a lot more than we do.
I'm sure they have their own separate thing that they do that's like this. That if a screening of this comes up in your area, or you you live somewhere that has just an old run theater, or some sort of Bruin View, or just something where they might show this, absolutely do yourself a favor and go. It's a fantastic film, and even if you've seen it before, you've seen it a dozen times, it's your favorite fucking film, you saw half of it in college and thought to yourself I should get back to that, and then 10 years later you're like, I still need to do that one day. Just go. Do yourself the favor of whatever the ticket price is, it's worth it, because honestly, the caliber of film that it is, and not just trying to sound like fucking blowing smoke up its ass. I'm sorry, and I know I've gotten hate from people before, but everyone who's oh my God, Citizen Kane. Oh, Citizen Kane. I I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. It's such a dry, boring piece of shit.
This is...
But you can have Citizen Kane. I'm not going to take it from...
Yeah, I didn't know until that moment that we had so many Citizen Kane snobs in our audience that, like, would stop a video and, like, yell at you because... Really? All right. I don't have any hatred for Citizen Kane by any means. Like, it's not one that I saw it once. Like, I felt like...
I feel like that is the appropriate number of times.
Yeah. Well-made, beautiful movie. Well-made, everything. If you like movies, you should probably see it once, but this is more my type of... more my type of film school than Citizen Kane. I think, like, if you love movies, you need to see this. If you love, if you have a desire to make movies or write movies, you should see this. Especially this coming out of the New Hollywood era. Excuse me, if you want to really see what, like, speaking of New Hollywood, what, like, 70s gritty-esque filmmaking was all about, outside of, like, New Hollywood or anything, just what 70s filmmaking was all about and the boundaries that they pushed and the taboos that they pushed. Fuck yeah, watch this movie.
Because, yeah, just every frame of this is just, there's something, whether it's just a different way of framing that before this, you don't set the camera back there and just watch over, like, just, conversation, watching the back of fucking someone's head. It's like... Like, the scene where he's on the phone trying to call Sybil Shepherd, and it pans over. You're just like, the cameraman's just bored. It's like, I'm just gonna watch the hallway here to see if anything cool's going on out in the street, I guess.
That's a great shot.
But yeah, it's just there's so much going on constantly. The themes, like every scene has something to it that is just. Like, at the time, like you said, like, just taboo. Like that movie is just made out of everything that you wouldn't want to talk about. And it forces you to.
Yeah.
It gives you nowhere else to go. It's not like there's, like, this plot going on, but it's just to the side, and we don't really touch on it. It's just, no, it's not like, oh man, there was that weird scene with that girl that tried getting in the car and, somebody dragged her out. It's like, no, we're going to follow that girl. Yeah. We're going to see what's going on. We're going to get personally invested in her life. We're
going to hear, like, parts of their conversation, like, broken up a little bit. We're going to come in about halfway through this.
And yeah, it forces all this on you, and it doesn't give you anywhere safe to go. There's no safe spot in this film. Like, there's just always some sort of pull, whether it's in an emotional direction or like a visceral, like, just reactionary, like, just suddenly like there's so much building up to, he's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly when, and it just keeps dragging that along.
Yeah.
And then whenever it finally comes to that point, it just goes for the fucking goal.
First time I saw the Martin Scorsese scene, I remember being like, is he gonna shoot that guy? Is this what's gonna make this guy snap? He's just gonna turn around and just shoot this nutcake sitting in the back of his cab?
I feel like what's the most terrifying part of this movie is the fact that at any moment it feels like it's about to turn into a horror film.
No, yeah.
Like, at any moment, the slightest fucking thing is gonna happen, and instead of looking like a movie that takes place, like, 2 blocks away from Maniac, it's just going to turn into Maniac.
Yeah, we need to keep this guy away from mannequin stores.
like it feels like it is one bad fucking moment away from becoming a horror film from the beginning. And in that scene, like, the big shootout scene, you realize, like, if that were to happen, if he were to just become, like, the out and out villain of this movie, holy shit. Like, if this was framed from a different direction, like taking whatever, like,
Oh, we have 2 minutes.
Okay. We look at the audience.
What do you think, audience?
But yeah, it's like this could have easily have been instead written from like Sybil Shepherd and Albert Brooks's perspective, where
it's a stalker thriller.
where yeah, like it's more of like a Dressed to Kill sort of situation.
Oh yeah.
That is a very valid point that could be made in this film, and that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And well, coming up we got Medea.
Another classic of cinema.
Exactly. Like, we got to slow down. We got 2 classics in a week. Oh, actually, I don't know when we'll get to that, but there's Ouija and Jack Reacher, Jack Reacher 2 coming up. I should probably, yeah, we got like a minute left. But what he said, this will be one of the greatest cinematic experiences of your life. So if you get to see a re-release, go for it. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. Just watch it. It's a movie everyone should see. See ya.